Good morning and welcome to Movement and Meditation. My name is Patton White and I am the Artistic and Administrative Director of Beacon Dance. We are a dance organization headquartered in the B Complex in Southwest Atlanta in a neighborhood called Capitol View. And I'm coming to you from our studio there. And in this ongoing series of somatic-based movement exploration workshops, this ongoing series, I am providing an opportunity for us together to explore the connection between the mind, the body, and the spirit. And this week, in today's session, and in the Story Circle session that we'll have on Wednesday, we are taking a little bit of a diversion from where we have been focusing much of our attention. And we have been doing a lot of body-mind centering based work, and today we're going to be spending some time learning about a principle or an idea put forth by Rudolf Laban. And I felt compelled to do this because this is the week of Thanksgiving, and for many of us, we may be gathering, or we may not be gathering this year with other members of our extended friends, family, and etc. Anyway, the kinesphere. Let's talk a little bit about it. The notion of the kinesphere was created by Rudolf Laban to define the sphere around the body whose periphery can be reached by easily extended limbs without stepping away from that place, which is the point of support, when standing on one foot. This spherical space around our body shifts as soon as we shift our weight. It is also the first area of movement exploration before going into space in general. It follows anatomical limitations, being actually more elliptic than spherical, as constitutionally the average body has a wider area of reach forward than backward. Visibly speaking, the kinesphere stays invisible until the movement we move within it, and make it tangible by leaving our trace forms, the spatial consequences of our movements. And then finally, taking the body as a reference called body cross, although Laban considered we can also look at space using other references. The kinesphere is also the container of a cube containing all diagonal directions and dimensions, and of an icosahedron made by 3 bidimensional planes. It contains angular geometry inside a round geometry. The very precise geometry is also the supporting structure for our personal interactions, defining personal space and body territory. And that is precisely what I was interested in, or why I was interested in examining this and having us play with it a little bit. Because if you are going to be getting together with friends or family in this time of the pandemic, we are trying to maintain that the recommended social distancing of roughly 6 feet from one another, and of course wearing masks and all that sort of stuff. But if we think about, and I'm going to move back just a little bit, if we think about how our arms from fingertip to fingertip may be pretty close to around 6 feet. I know myself, I'm 5 5'10", so just 2 inches shy of 6 feet. So I can use my height as a way of gauging this idea of distance, and then same thing with my legs. My legs are, each leg is certainly a little bit longer than 3 feet, but but I can use my own body to help without me having to get a little, measuring tape to try to assess what that 6 foot distance might be. The kinesphere. Let's begin. I'm going to scoot back even a little bit more to begin to reach towards the edges of our kinesphere. Let's begin by sitting up straight if you're sitting. If you're standing, feel free to do this standing as well. I'm going to go back just a little bit more. But what we're trying to do is to feel the full extent of our kinesphere in all 3 of our directions, forward and back, side to side, and then up and down. So if I'm seated, my kinesphere is going to end a little bit shorter than if I were in a standing. In front and in back, I have that same sense of spatial awareness, and side to side and diagonally as well. So let's begin with our movement in the exploration of the kinesphere, and take another little bit of information into this process. And so for us, we are going to bring in these ideas of advancing and retreating as well. So I'm going to think of advancing in space and spreading my arms through space and out to my side. So it's almost as if we are in water and swimming like fish and reaching out to the side. So piercing, advancing, and then opening. There's a slight sense of retreat as we do that. Advancing, piercing, and open. Let's try this just with one arm this time. Last week we were playing with symmetry and asymmetry. And as we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and get our spine, the entirety of the spine, to begin to collapse and then rise back to that neutral place in the center. So let's reach. And I'm also widening my base as someone who is seated right now. I'm using my sits bones, but I'm also supporting myself through my feet on the floor. And you can try this as you are willing and able to. And then reaching out with the fingertips, in this case I'm reaching with my right arm out over the top of my head. And now to the left side. And back. And allowing that collapsing of the spine from side to side. Let's bring the arm down through the center with each of these. And now this time, let's open and twist ever so slightly in the spine before we come back to the center. And then reaching and opening and back and return. And with all of this, I'm exploring that imaginary bubble going from the center out towards the periphery of that bubble that surrounds us and where we can reach with extended limbs. Let's reach, so we were reaching up there. Let's go ahead and reach just straight to the side, but crossing the center line, finding that connection too between our cross-lateral limbs, right and left, opposition. And now let's go low. And low. And again low. And low. Feel free to do this, adapt as you need to in terms of your speed. I'm going to go ahead and now take some time to try some of this standing as well. Let me begin to feel some of the edges of my kinesphere with my feet. Extending if you need to, if you have a chair that you can hang on to. Being a little more daring now, allowing the torso to shift and find different orientations in space. Alright, so we've done a lot of, all of this work we've done so far is about radiating, as going back to Bonnie Bainbridge-Cohen, the idea of navel radiation, radiating out from the core of the body towards the periphery of our kinesphere, so that we're becoming really clear, you know, the center of that sphere to the the periphery. Now let's spend some time moving along the edge of the kinesphere. So the edges, as we move in this space along the edges, we call this arcing movement because we're arcing along the edge of the sphere itself. So my limbs in this case, my arms specifically, are extended. And again, you can do this seated or standing like I'm doing. You can also play with speed, different tempos of speed. Arcing through space. Let's spend just some time swaying back and forth in front. And in this case, I'm choosing again to do symmetrical movement with both arms. So my kinesphere, I'm allowing it to kind of compress a little bit by slightly bending in the elbows. Let's try some swinging action with the arms. So reaching one arm forward, one arm back. And again with this, I'm finding a sense of release and letting go. Let's try both arms together. So that was asymmetry. And now with both arms together, we're back to symmetry. Let's add a little bit of a bounce to this as well. And letting the arms now just dangle, tasseling, so they aren't trying to do anything themselves, but with this just a little bit of a pulse in the knees and the ankles and the hips, allowing just a little bit of a release all up and down the spine. We can think of this in with this relationship at the kinesphere of pressing our spine. So our spine, and in this case the feet, are helping to define the sides of our kinesphere. So I'm pressing my head up towards the edge of the kinesphere. It kind of retreats a little bit away from it and then presses back up to it. And at the same time, I'm thinking about, in physics we always learn, or we have learned, that for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. So, I have the power, by softening and then straightening my legs, of pushing the earth ever so incrementally in that opposite direction. My action of the stretching of the knees, the ankles, a rotation in the hip sockets, causes not just the top of my head to reach up towards the edge of my kinesphere, but it also causes the earth to retreat slightly away from that same point in space right here. If we took that lesson into other areas of our lives, the lesson that this action causes, even though it's so imperceptible, we certainly don't experience the sense of the earth dropping away like this in a visceral way, but it is happening regardless. And so living in that idea of just this little action can cause some sort of a reaction. Let's shift now from up and down to adding also side-to-side movement. In this case, I'm going to start off with just shifting my weight from one foot to the other, as if we are pouring water from one leg into the other. And now I'm finding the sense of the kinesphere in our sidewards, our side space. What are some of the things that you might kind of nuzzle up to with this entire side of the body? What are some of, or who are some of the people that you might want to nuzzle up to? Through feeling the entire side of your body enveloped in connection, in physical connection with another person. I'm continuing now this side-to-side action, but I'm also adding another layer of slightly forwards, and then backwards and backwards. So we're taking now time to really feel the two-dimensional. We were playing with our third dimension of height a second ago, but now we're feeling the side-to-side with that entire side of the body, and we're feeling the front space and the back space at the same time. This idea of nuzzling into connection with another. If we are attempting to be safe with our Thanksgiving gathering this year, we're going to need to really be clear of where our kinespheres are and to try not to allow them to intersect with other people's kinespheres. And so now I'm allowing my arms to help again define as I continue this idea of the side, front, side, back, taking the entire torso as one piece, moving, shifting the weight from one side to the other. Feeling also, remembering that our torso is the container for all of our organs, our internal organs. Get a little closer to you. Feeling different. Let's take some time now to feel the different textures or the different surfaces of the arms. So we've spent a lot of time with our palms. Feel the back of the hands moving through space, moving through this. If you could fill up your kinesphere with some sort of a with some kind of liquid. What texture would that liquid be? Would it be very thin? Watery? Would it have a little bit more of a viscosity? How does that change in the qualitative state of the liquid in your kinesphere? How does that change the quality of the movement? How does it change the effort of moving through that fluid? Moving back a little bit again. Really feeling, I'm really feeling the back surface of my body pressing through space. So even though I'm going away from the camera right now, I'm advancing into that back space. It looks as if I'm retreating, but I was feeling the back surface of my body advancing through space. And now I'm going to do the opposite and advance back through space to come forward. Feeling the front surface of my body this time. Now let's just shake that out now and just take a moment to walk around for yourself the space that you're in. Walking forwards, feeling an awareness, a new type of an awareness of this bubble, this imaginary bubble that surrounds you. Although maybe it's not imaginary. Maybe it really does surround you. And coming back to take some time to just breathe and to meditate on this idea of our kinesphere. Let's close our eyes. So I'm back to seated. You can, again, you can still be standing if you prefer, or if you're seated, just take a moment to close your eyes and breathe in through your nose, feeling as you inhale a same sense of the inner kinesphere of our body, of our lungs, and how as we inhale, the lungs inflate to the furthest possible amount that they can inflate, to extend to their fullest kinesphere. And then as we exhale, they just collapse back away from the edges of the kinesphere. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. How many people can we touch through an awareness of our own personal kinesphere? How many people can we touch if we take that idea of our action causing a reaction? On Friday this past week was my the mail carrier who has delivered the mail for our neighborhood for many years. I want to say at least 15, maybe longer. And she was retiring on Friday, and it was so sweet to see the outpouring of love and respect and honoring for her. She touched people outside of her kinesphere through her just beautiful self. And so I invite you to imagine how you can do the same, how you can, through gratitude, through just living, being yourself, how are you reaching out to that far edge of where we are physically and send it out emotionally. Thank you, Fulton County Board of Commissioners, for funding this, individuals. Have a great Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
Lipstick on the edge of a glass, a trail of cigarette ash. That's old news at the scene of you. The table's lying at a crazy cant, a window smashed and so is a lamp. Looks like a tornado tore through the scene of you. What can I say? You had it coming. What with the way you ran around, and who in the world could blame this sweet little girl? Besides, I didn't leave any clues at the scene of you. I thought I was the only